Welcome to the Model Car Hobby Headquarters Unpodcast with your host, Luca C. Now here he is, Luca C. Well, hello, my fellow car modelers. How you doing today? We got a special guest today, right over here. Jim Rogers from Salvino's JR Models. Thanks, Jim, for coming on.
Quite welcome. I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
Oh yeah, this will be neat. This is a great little format we got started. So this is fun. Just to let everyone know, Jim and I kind of over the internet became friends from when I first started my YouTube channel. Early on, I didn't have any real subscriptions, or maybe just a few hundred at the time, and I don't know, he liked what I did and contacted me, and they hadn't started yet, and told me about this kit, this gray ghost they were coming out with. And I just thought that was, well, first of all, that I knew right then and there, that was a model that us NASCAR builders were just hungry for. So what a way to start. And we've been kind of talking ever since. And he stopped in Phoenix. We've met in person. He showed me some cool things. And over time, we just became friends, you know, because we got a common interest here, this model car thing, eh?
Yep. Yeah, we go way back. Like, what time is it?
Oh, yeah, something in the morning, huh?
Yeah, that was about, we've known each other for probably pushing 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, and boy, what a run. I'll tell you, what you guys have done for the hobby, I think it proves something that I've been saying for a while, where everybody wants to say that the model car hobby is dead or dying or something.
Not at all.
You have absolutely proved that it is not.
Well, what
Andy's proved it's not with you know, the whole model building hobby.
Well, what we did was Rick has always been a very passionate model builder, and he's been always passionate about NASCAR since he was a kid, and his dad was working for STP before he was able to actually go to the races himself. He has always loved NASCAR. His favorite driver of all time, though not NASCAR, was Jimmy Clark, who I think Jimmy Clark drove a stock car once.
Yeah.
But Rick, we have to say Rick is the driving force for what we do and what we pick. He and I go back and forth, and we'll discuss stuff, but he knows the subject far better than I do. My job is to, as I say, I make things look pretty.
Yeah.
That's my job, is being as anal as I can possibly be to make sure that stuff looks like it should and stuff can come out of a metal mold. That's another thing.
People do not realize the difficult that difficult part of it. I know and we've discussed this, we both come from the resin casting background, industrial modeling and all that. And that's a tough thing. Sometimes there's things you just can't do. Yeah, because of how it comes out of the molds.
Yeah, and also the stuff that we have to do, like some of the A pillars are a little bit 2-3 times what actual size might be.
Yeah, but
if we did them actual size, every kit would come crushed. So there's trade-offs that we have to do.
Yeah, and you know, you see that in over the years of all the bigger companies, the ones that have been around forever. I mean, they have to make compromises. We've always seen that. That's where the modeler comes in, and if you don't like it, you change it. I mean, even in the old monogram stuff, I've been working on something to make that A-pillar more realistic and mold into the A-pillar roll cage part.
Yes.
And all that, what's on the actual car. And you can't do that on a model because you got to have the body to be able to come on and off.
Yeah.
That's where we come in. You know, if you want to make it look better, that you give the foundation, we can take it from there.
That's one of the things that from the very beginning, Rick said, hey, we got to get that roll cage up higher, got to get it higher. The only thing I can do to get any roll cage any higher is make them D-shaped rather than round.
Yeah.
Just so it has a flat top to get it up there. But you know,
well, you know, I've seen worse.
Yeah.
You see it where it's way too low, where if it was a real car and the driver's head would be above, which that's not a good thing. But we're also dealing with, you have to make the body cannot be true scale thickness. So you lose inches there.
If they were scaled, the wall thickness of the bodies would be about 1.5 inches on your car.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the whole thing with scale compromise. But to between coming out with these bodies that were never available, but when you started off with that Oldsmobile, to me was a huge thing to come in. Just made cars that were very difficult or expensive, or there was resin bodies, and they would, what you have, your styrene body is way above any resin body that was ever done. Not saying anything bad about any of the casters out there.
Exactly.
They can only do what they can do. You have the technology to make it like way kits should be. And then that Monte Carlo, that was both those were just such wanted cars for so many years. What a way to come out of the gate.
Then the 2+2, which was very much wanted. It wasn't quite like those. And then the Le Mans that there was.
But see,
you got to see the Le Mans. What was it, like 6 months before we put that out? I showed you.
I saw the 3D printed one. It was right then and there. I got excited immediately, knew something great was on the horizon. The thing about that too is you when you told me that you guys got all the old monogram kits, they were going to vanish. They were never going to be around again, and you guys rescued them. And to me, I did videos before that ever happened saying this is my all-time most built favorite kit, were these old monogram stock cars. And they were, for being done in 1981, 81 when they engineered them. And they're still today. So, dynamite, just they live up to what scale modeling is today. And you guys rescuing those and bringing those back, I remember when you first told me you did it, the one thing I was scared of for you was that for the longest time, because those kits were put out. Everybody had so many. I definitely was one. That you would not sell a lot because everybody had them, and for a long time you couldn't give them away or pay $3 for them. But then I started hearing people right before you put them out. It was like perfect timing. There were guys who just came in the hobby that were wishing they could get a hold of these kits.
Yes.
And they were now getting impossible to get a hold of. And blam, you put that out. Now look at all these that are selling, and guys are going, I can finally build these again.
Exactly. And every week, Rick and Chris and I, each of us talks to one or two people every week that they haven't built a model in 25 years. They haven't built a model since their family started having kids. Or like me, I haven't built a model in 45 years. Till I did a couple of our Monte Carlos, and I've done 2 of our Monte Carlos and one of our Gray Ghosts, and of course the modified that I have over there. But that doesn't really quite count. But I say, I build models all day long, 5 or 6 days a week on the computer. Yeah. So I don't really get that urge and want to get out there and paint them. But once in a while, there's a couple of them I want to do. I'm looking forward to when that modified comes out. That is one badass little car, and that is going to paint up to be so neat. We're looking at summertime on that. So
I'm excited about that. You remember, everybody, I got to see it and hold it in my hand. He brought it to me. That was like over a year ago. I think you showed me the prototype, and you guys, I remember you saying that Rick was kind of unsure, like it was kind of a market thing where it wouldn't do well everywhere. And when I saw it, I said, no, this thing's going to do well everywhere, I think.
Yeah,
there was so much about it that was something that also, again, it has aspects that have never been available in scale model kits that you can buy. Readily available kits. Like your wheels and tires. That's a part that I'm really excited about.
Well, we talked a couple minutes ago about the stock car hobby itself, and it was losing it was losing the kits from the manufacturers.
Yes.
And they were also, the last ones they were producing were ones that really weren't particularly popular, but they thought they needed to put out 100,000 of a particular female driver, and then those fell into the market of, hey, they're a good base to add your decals to.
Yeah.
But that stock car builder market, no, yeah, it's not the largest section of the hobby, but you know what? It's a very viable section, and it's a legitimate section, and the builders are very passionate about what they do, and we love being able to go towards that particular underserved niche. And we're saying, hey, you guys, we like you. We want to make more stuff because we like the subject anyway. So we're coming. Rick and I were talking. We've got so far, including the Charger, what is it, 5, 6 completely new cars.
Yeah.
And this year, I think I've got 3 or 4 that the goal is that I've got these things done so we can have these into production before the end of the year.
Wow. That's
so
neat.
You of course you know about the 2 Chargers.
Yes.
And then and I don't think I'm I don't think I'm dropping any bombs here saying we're planning on the 71 Roadrunner. I've got my first print that I'm going to be, that just went out in the mail to Rick to look over to make sure that I got the nose lengthened to the proper length. And then we're going to start doing the fenders and stuff. But just like the Charger, these are purpose-built race cars. These aren't street cars that you guys have to modify like the old Monte Carlo that you had to sand off the Landau top.
Yeah.
These are designed for you guys. We've even had some street builders say, well, are you going to do a street car? No, you've had that. You've had the chance. We build race cars. We build American race cars.
Yeah, you sure do.
So we do want to do Indy cars. We do want to do NHRA, but those are probably they're a few years down the line. We've got,
you got to take steps. You got to take steps. And obviously you guys are growing quite, in 3 years, I did not think you guys would be as big as you are now. You said to me when I remember you telling me about that Roadrunner, and it didn't sound like that was going to happen for years. And now you're talking about doing it this year. And that's one I'm real excited about. That's one of my favorite stock cars. It's such a beautiful race car.
And the goal of that is we got a license with Chrysler, so we got to be selling Chrysler product, and they've given us a schedule, or Rick said this is how we want to try to do this year, this year, and then next year we'll bring out a Superbird. So
yeah, wow, okay, that's Superbird, and what's great about that is that's always been a difficult one to do because all we ever had were all stock car, street car ones. And you had to do so much modifying. And then there was the old Johan one that everybody said, that's better to use, but there was a lot of issues with it, because it was late 60s technology. Yeah. And to come out with a total purpose-built stock car of one, it's going to make it so much easier to build, first of all, but that you're going to be able to correct everything that was always an issue. Yeah,
that's the goal. In fact, we also want to, now it's going to be probably 22. We want to bring back the Lumina.
Oh boy.
And we want to fix the slab and make the slab sides.
Which I'm not a fan of the slab side, but it is a needed one.
Yes.
Because that was you got to think, when at the end of the Lumina run, when they went to the slab side, that was NASCAR at its height in popularity. That was an exciting time. And that is a real, and now that's a classic, old car. It's not a modern NASCAR. So you're going to have guys that remember watching those when they were kids. So that's a good move.
There are a couple drivers that are very excited about us doing that car.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go too far into that, but there are a couple of drivers that of those that are really.
I honestly, I have decals for one that I do want to build. I do want to build one that from that era that I was going to put it on the older body. I love that curved look myself, but to do this car, that's the proper car to do it with. So yeah, I'll at least build one. Or I will own one to build. I can't say that I'll build it because we know that story.
Yeah, looking at what's behind you, it's the way it goes. So
I got a few ahead of it, I guess. So that Lumina, though, that's basically you're basing it. You have the old Lumina, the old monogram Lumina. Then
we have the mold. We've got molds for stuff that Rick hasn't even had a chance to go through what we have. But I do know that we don't have the chassis molds on that. So that's going to be, I don't know if it's later this year or getting into next year. That's going to be on my list of to-dos is to redo the chassis molds. Like right now, I'm in the process of redoing all the designs for the Gen 6. But I'm also waiting on the files to see what they're going to give me. So how much or how little I'm going to have to redesign.
Yeah. And you guys got an in on that too, don't you?
Well, they will, GM and NASCAR will be supplying us with the files.
Oh, that's
so that's going to be great. And that's going to ensure that car body is going to be as close to perfect as I can possibly get it because I'm working with their files. The other brands, the Ford, the Toyota, I don't know if those are going to happen. I don't know when they're going to happen. And, you know, I know there's a lot of Ford guys that are saying, hey, when are you going to have Fords? When are you going to have Fords? We'll get to them when we can. You know, Chevy kind of dominated the sport for so long, and Chrysler dominated it through the 70s with the petty cars and the other Chargers and stuff. So that's where we're going for now. We'll get to them. We will get to them. We promise we will get to them.
Yeah. Everybody's excited, wants it all right now, but you got to build a building. You got to start with the foundation.
That's it.
To the roof.
Yep.
But yeah, but like I said, you guys are putting them out faster than you originally planned.
For a long time, we wanted to be on the schedule of one a month, and it took us a little bit longer than we really wanted, but we finally got things going, and our the factory that we work with that does stuff, he's bought some more machines, so we've become a larger part of their product load at the factory. We've become a bigger piece of that factory in what they're doing. So he is adding more, and if things turn out the way we think they might, now that we're getting the license with NASCAR and going to be on the Fanatics site and at the racetracks and stuff like that, where we're going to have more stuff, we may see before the end of this year, we may actually see having to add a second kit in a month.
Oh, wow.
So just because we only do 5,000 kits of something. And Rick has his feet down. He does not want to go any more than that.
I think that's a good idea. I think that's a great idea, actually.
And if we go more than that, and there's so much of a demand between the club, the sales online, our dealers, our distributors, and especially then with Fanatics and the tracks and stuff, if we have to come up with another kit, then we come up with another kit. Mm-hmm. And I no idea what it'll be, but you know, those are just possibilities. And we may be juggling, you know, we're going to have an older kit, a newer kit, newer kit, whatever. And, you know, we just got to see how things happen as they happen in some sense.
Yeah. Well, and real quick, like, for the people out there who might not regularly tune into your show on Saturday mornings, off of Facebook and aren't on the club, and we'll get to that here in a little bit, that you do on Wednesdays. Talk about that NASCAR deal. I don't think people know about that, and I'll say what I think that's going to do.
I think it's going to be absolutely insane for this hobby.
It is. But I mean, but you guys, a lot of people don't realize that you guys got a deal in with NASCAR.
Yes. So we have licensed with Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh,
So you know who I'm not going to name names, but you have a good idea who's going to be our first kit.
yeah.
So, and
I
we're
think I
shooting
can
for
take that
that
one.
sometime this summer. And if we get to the point of having to do multiple cars, extra cars for the year, then he's got 2 or 3 teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
So we pop out with those, or the way they do the different liveries now with every race there's something different.
Yeah.
If need
So
be,
many
we could
possibilities.
do that person's car again. But we've got Hendrick, and after we start going, that some of the other teams are going to say, hey, how about us?
And the fact that with your NASCAR deal, that's putting you in, you had mentioned earlier that you're going to be selling product through NASCAR stores and at the racetracks.
Yeah.
And like you just said, and when you first told me about that, what popped in my head is that's going to reach the true audience to keep this hobby growing is really guys like us. It's not a little kids game anymore. It's an unpopular thing to say. Everybody wants it to be. We got to get the kids involved to keep the hobby alive. That's not it. What you're doing is what's going to keep the hobby alive by bringing it to people who never thought about building a model car and go, I can't work on a real cup car or anything like that. I could buy a model of it and build all my favorite drivers.
Or the guys who, for the last several years, though they might like to build a model, they haven't had them, so they buy a die cast.
Right.
And it's a great, beautiful collectible they can put on the shelf, but there's really not anything that they can physically do to be involved. And
right.
As crazy as it might sound to some people, when you go to Aaron Brothers Art Mart or wherever, and you buy a canvas to paint on, some fool had to stretch the canvas over that wooden frame. That's my job. I'm the guy that makes the wooden frame and stretches the canvas. I'm not the artist. You are the artist. The guys watching this, they're the artists, not me. So the model hobby itself brings it allows the inner artist of the builders, etc., to actually participate in the hobby and the collectible, but be a part of it. Do something that I love. I love what you do. I love what Chris at HPI Guys does. Chris brings people into the hobby and shows, hey, with a little bit of patience, you can do something really nice. And then you take that and say, okay, now that you've done something really nice, let's add a little pepper and a little spice and a little other things. Let's bring a little bit more out that the guys not only have something that they're happy with and proud of, but now they've achieved something and they've got something they're really happy to show, whether it be show on a shelf in their room that when their buddies come over, they go, oh, wow, I couldn't do that. Or they actually take it to a show, the local hobby town or wherever, and they show it in their club and they can be proud of what they're doing. And I love to be able to do that. I see stuff of all sorts of different qualities.
Oh yeah.
I'm never going to downgrade somebody who just hasn't built up the skills or doesn't have the hand-eye coordination. It doesn't matter. Are they enjoying what they're doing?
That
Absolutely.
is number one. That has always been what I've said.
I love talking to our builders, and I love seeing what guys are doing.
Yeah, that's and that's another thing that is so unique to you guys. I love how you have reached out and connected with with basically your customers and become friends with everybody, and you're so accessible and listening to them what they want. That's really what's made you guys so unique. The Saturday morning thing, when Rick gets on, sometimes Chris gets on, and you guys go on with your stories. That is bringing more people into the hobby and seeing that, wow, here's a group of guys putting these kits out for us that really care about what we do with them.
Yeah.
And I love how you guys are always putting out there, showing someone who built one of your kits and putting their name on it and present you, hey, look, Jimmy Joe did this one and that. It's a great way of saying thanks, guys.
It is.
And supporting them, and they support you. And I think that is what is also a big factor in I think your growth. It's a unique way, being the small little boutique company that, model maker that you say you are, that gives you the ability to do that. And I think it's a wonderful thing. You've really created quite a community.
Well, we'll do it as long as we can. Chris has already reached that point where Chris really can't spend much time with people calling in because he's so busy trying to take care of the builders club, handle orders, call the dealers, etc.
Oh yeah.
Rick spends a little bit more time, but for the most part, I can sit here, scream at the computer, and talking to somebody usually takes me a little bit away of the yelling at the computer. Yeah, they may not get all of my attention in a conversation because they're catching me in the middle of the day, but at least it's not brain surgery on my part. Nobody's going to die from what I do, but I do enjoy being able to chat with people. And I got people like you who check in and call and tell me what you're up to or whatever. And so
I think that's been a neat thing. You staying connected with everyone. Everybody likes your personality and loves how friendly you are. And it does, it boosts, it makes people feel good about buying the kits from you too. It truly, being friendly like that. I think that's a neat, unique thing you guys are doing. It definitely shows how much you guys care about the hobby and growing it. And I think that what you've done, putting, basically you saved an end of the hobby. Like we talked about, the thing about the NASCAR guys, the race car builders, they have such a passion about these cars and know a lot about them too.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes too a little bit of a issue it can be, but for the most part, it really really helps you out in gaining knowledge in what you're doing too, because you've got all these guys giving you the feedback and you listen. That's something you never would have gotten from any of the big companies back in the day.
And sometimes they do come up and say, hey, here's a mistake. Well, once it's in steel, there's really not much we can do about stuff, but I can fix it on the next one. When the guys start building the Charger, they're going to really like what I did with the roll cage. It goes together a lot better. There's one little kind of a tricky part in the assembly of the back part of the roll cage, but the cage itself goes together so much nicer. It holds itself in place, so you don't need to hire your neighborhood octopus to come over and be hanging on to everything. That's just kind of the nature of the beast.
You learned. You learn from
well,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
You learn. I could pick out any one of these kits back here right now and find a fault in it. If you want to be slicing things up like that. And well, that's part of being a modeler too, is get over those humps. One, and I always say, would you rather not have it?
Yes.
And like this thing right here you created. I'd rather have, well, I don't know this. I think you hit a home run on the body. I loved how it turned out. And the fact that none of this came from any monogram body. This was all you doing. Everything. You didn't take an old body and just reform it. You started from scratch on that.
No, and people think that, oh well, I can scan everything. No, you can't.
No.
When you scan something, which I do, but when you scan it, it looks like you took that body, sprayed it with glue, and then took coarse sand and covered it over. They're hideous. There's nothing usable. You can't just scan something and just you're done. I'd scan it and then I'd start drawing the lines on it where all the surface lines and the edge lines and things would be, and then have to build those surfaces. It gave me a starting point. It's like tracing something with a piece of tracing paper and then transferring that down onto your piece of paper to do whatever you're trying to draw. it's a step in that direction, and it gives you widths and lengths and where some wheel openings should be and angles of A pillars and B pillars and stuff. But at some point, it becomes pretty worthless, which is really within the first few days. Then that scan just is trashed and it's gone. And then I'm looking at pictures and bringing pictures into the screen and tracing the lines of that to make sure everything is where it should be.
How long did it take you to do this body, for instance?
Well, to get a body in general shape, I can have a body roughed in a week to 2 weeks. But then when it goes to the fine tuning of making sure all the lines, all the angles are correct, then adding the door seams and making everything fit takes time. Now, with the Le Mans, I had already done the 2+2, so I was able to use some of the greenhouse, especially the windows. I was able to use that front window and the pillars on the side to give me a little consistency, because with these 1/24 scale kits, they all use that same front window.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them maybe even use the same back window. But when you've got those, you work with those consistencies. The other thing is they all have to fit on the same roll cage. So rooftop needs to be, and the A pillar and the windshield, they have to be, and everything has to work off where the dashboard is and where the firewall is. So once you've got those, then you can play around with other stuff. And, wheelbase is going to be consistent.
Yeah.
Width of the body is going to be consistent. So you work with those. And then everything else is just start drawing and stretching and pulling and screaming. And there is a lot of screaming and cursing.
I can see where you're tuckered out and not feel like sitting down and building a model.
See, looking
you're
at
building
this,
that model all day on that computer.
Looking at this white beard, you wouldn't know that I'm 35 years old, would you?
Me too. That takes quite a few hours. You're really putting a lot of time into this.
And that's what I try to tell Rick on. He wants me to get this Gen 6 done pretty quick. I said, Rick, I may be on that 3 months.
Yeah.
Because I've got, like I said, I don't know what I'm getting scans or file wise, but I may have to go back and design every single part and piece.
Yeah.
And this also gives me a chance that if there's some parts in that kit that weren't quite right, I can make new ones. I'm making new ones, so I can go through that and make it a little bit better.
No, you're busy.
It's going to be
a little bit busy.
It's going to be a busy year.
Yeah.
Plus, then doing my accessory parts. I'm trying to do those, and
Wow. And you took time to be able to come talk to little old me. Thanks.
You're my buddy.
But look at that. But you take the time. Every Saturday you're doing that show, getting together with everyone. And for those of you who don't know, I said it in a video, one of the videos about one of the kits I reviewed, is they have this builders club. And why don't you take some time to tell people about the builders club?
Okay, well, the Builders Club is a model of the month club. It's like a book of the month or a bra of the month or a fruit of the month or whatever. What it is the builders provide their credit card number and their shipping address and everything to Rick and Chris, and they put it in a nice, safe place. And when about the 10th of the month, they run your credit cards. And because we try to ship between the 12th and the 14th. So the new kit every month, you automatically get shipped that new kit. The cool things about the club are it costs nothing to join the club. All you do is say, for a year, I'm willing to buy one kit a month. If something happens, you can't do it, you drop out. It's no big deal. There's no contract in blood. It's a handshake, but the guys they're the first kits that get shipped out every month. They pay the $40 for the kit and about $10 for shipping. Unfortunately, it's only North America, guys. We've got an international distributor, and we can't accommodate international members in the club, unfortunately. But anyway, first kits that go out go to the Builders Club. Second kits that go out like the next day are the ones that people just buy on the store webpage, and then dealers and distributors get theirs. But when you buy a kit, you get an extra set of decals for that kit. You get another set of decals for something else, for another one of our kits. So you're getting, well, decal sheets are $12-13. So you got $25 right there. And then we usually throw in some really cool stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So special stickers that are only available for the Builders Club. Let's see what else on Wednesday.
And on Wednesdays.
On Wednesday nights, we do a Facebook Live only for the Builders Club, and right now we're like 305 members as of this week. Yeah, we got 10 new members this week. So
and they get privy information.
They do. They find out what next month's kit is in advance of everybody else, usually a week and a half ahead of the world. They actually voted on the charger. We gave them a list of some things we were working on, and we were contemplating, and the club voted to do the charger. So they got a 73 and a 71 charger coming out.
Yeah, that was a bomb you dropped this week. The 71 I didn't expect that one.
Well, it's going to be a little while before we put one out, but Mike's Decals, Model Roundup, and Wes's Model Car Corner on Facebook, they have been a financial part of that. So they are getting the 71s, and they're going to be selling generic 71s for 3-4 months, I guess, until we've come along and do a 71.
Yeah.
So that's,
yeah, I saw it on, I think on Model Roundup's site. I saw the box art for that.
Yep.
I've been getting whenever they've had that, well, on Mike's, I think it was on, I can't remember if it was Mike's or Model Roundup, but whenever you've done that, I've been getting those kits, those generic kits, because I love the box art. I think it's so neat.
Yeah.
I really like the Le Mans one. That one is cool looking.
Oh, and the other thing is when we do a petty kit, the Builders Club, not only do they get the kit, but they get the set of vermilion decals.
Oh yeah,
for that kit. And I don't know if Rick's still giving them out. I don't know if he has anymore, but we were giving out the vermilion decals to other petty kits to the club members.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of cool benefits, but the Wednesday night meeting, it's kind of like group therapy.
Yeah.
It's a support group for everybody. And we do have a lot of fun, and Chris and Rick and I are joking and laughing back and forth, and it's just a good time. But the club knows about the newest stuff that's going on. They get a good heads up on things. So it's just a good place to be a part of.
Again, there's that thing that you guys are doing is reaching out to your customers and making them friends and making them part of it.
And we give away, we do I have a box of ping pong balls, and I draw a number for a couple kits each night. And then I give away a little box of some of the 3D printed parts that I've designed.
Oh, your box of crap.
Yes. Rick said, "Hey, Rick, Jim's giving away giving away some crap tonight." So it got the box of crap. So it's
a box of crap.
And the guys actually send me letters. Can I buy a box of crap? I said, well, here's the list. I just usually put something.
I think there needs to be a T-shirt.
I'll have to talk to Mediocre about that. So
yeah, that would go over.
the guy that does our T-shirts and stuff. So
yeah, box of crap. Well, I want to thank you very much for coming on and talking to us about that, and we're looking forward to the future. It sounds like a lot of cool stuff's happening.
Absolutely.
And boy, oh boy, I'm glad you guys came on and helped the hobby the way. I think you have done a lot more than I think you realize. especially for the racers. Yeah, but I think it did show that this hobby is very much alive, and there is a lot out there for newcomers coming in. And I think what you guys got going is going to reach out to even more people and bring more people into the hobby. And they're going to build the NASCARs, but then they'll eventually branch off to the other stuff. Or if they just still build NASCARs and only buy your kits, it's more people in the hobby.
Yeah, that's our excitement about getting
best for all of us.
That's our excitement about getting into that Fanatics page and being on with them. Is all of a sudden we'll have more people find out about us in a week than may have already found out about us.
Oh, exactly.
And it's the people that haven't built in years, and they're coming back to the hobby because
and I've always seen that over the years and every modeling adventure I've done. I have always seen that the growth of the hobby was always these guys that the kids are growing, they've built their hot rods, they're looking to do a different hobby. It's a little less expensive, and they're into cars already. So it's just the perfect thing to do. And the kids are out of the way. They might have a room empty now. They got to do something with that room. Hey, do this with the room, right?
That's it. The man cave.
The man cave. Heck yeah, we got to have them. All right. Well, thanks a bunch for stopping in and saying hey to everybody and hey to me. And this was a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And well, you know what I say here. This is me, Lucas E. Keep on gluing those fingers together and keep on cutting that styrene and go out and get yourself a stock car model from Salvino's JR. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks a bunch for watching.
It's like a book of the month or a bra of the month or a fruit of the month or whatever. Kind of threw myself off with that one comment. I'm gonna make you blow.
Oh boy! And you caught me right when I was taking a drink.
but